What an honor to be sitting with you here today in Cape Town. You've been very gracious to me over the years with my various business ventures. Whenever I needed a soundboard, you were always willing to give me the time of day.
Yeah.
And today we're sitting with a slightly different angle, relatively new business, going into strategic partnerships. And I think, as I was saying to you over the phone when we chatted briefly,
Yeah.
I was sitting at the bar in Namibia, having a glass of wine, thinking about these partnerships, and there was no other person that I thought could give me a more balanced view of partnerships. So it's a real privilege to be talking to you again today, to hear your wisdom and listen to your insights, and also to be able to share this with others. You know, there's great examples in history of very good partnerships. I think one that comes to mind, top of mind for me, is Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger.
Sure.
I think, you know, we all know Warren Buffett, but many would say that Munger probably made him in terms of changing his thinking.
Yeah.
When you look at business partnerships, what do you look for?
First of all, it's a great pleasure always to help you. I mean, I've known you since, you know, your school days, and your parents and my wife and I became good friends over the years while they were here. So it's always a pleasure to help.
Thank you.
In any event, it's always a pleasure for me to share a little bit, for what it's worth, of my experience over a very long business career. Now, more than 60 years that I've been in what I call the arena. And yeah, you know, the first thing about partnerships that I want to make when I read your little note is that partnership is a wider concept than just two co-owners or three co-owners of a business. All your people who work for you are really your partners. And they're not employees. That's the way we always approached it in the businesses that we built, in Pep stores and in ShopRite. That your co-workers are really your partners. You depend on each other.
Yes.
And of course, if you want to extend it further, you can say that, you know, even your clients or your customers are in a sense your partners. You do have a shared objective. So it's not a narrow concept,
Yes.
but there is great value in the narrow concept as well. I've been very fortunate that in my business career, I managed to team up in most instances, with the rare, really bad exceptions. I teamed up with people that were true partners, that you could rely on and that you could trust, because, you know, trust is also a two-sided element. You can't build anything if you don't trust people, and particularly if you don't trust your partners. So to trust carries risk, but Dr. Anton Rupert used to say, not to trust is a greater risk. So yeah, people obviously have to have shared values, look at the world the same way, not in all respects, but in those respects that are important for your business.
Yes.
And then it doesn't really matter whether there are language differences or different religious beliefs or even different races. Those bridges you can all stitch together and build successful partnerships.
Christo, do you think sometimes there's also magic in partnerships where different people come together with different strengths that complement one another? Do you think that's crucial?
Yeah, obviously, very often, because nobody holds all the wisdom or has all the knowledge, and therefore part of a successful partnerships is that the partners bring different skills
Yes.
and even different views to the table. You referred to Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett. I mean, a lot of people make that comment that
Yes.
Munger was very largely responsible for Buffett's success.
Yes.
And they're a perfect example of how a brilliant partnership works. They each brought a particular strength to
Yes.
the table.
Yes.
And that ultimately is what it's all about.
So you were mentioning trust, and I guess when we talk about strength, there's competency. So you want to obviously work with partners who are very competent
Sure.
and that you can trust.
Yeah.
But I think you mentioned something very important, which is trust always carries a risk,
Sure.
but it's a necessary risk.
Absolutely. Well, the greater risk is not to trust.
Exactly, and as you were starting off saying that you've been 60 years in the arena,
Yeah.
and to do business always carries a risk, but you want to
Always.
mitigate your risk by
Yeah.
partnering with people
Yeah,
you trust.
I had to give a little talk last week to another investment grouping of Davy Rood, the
Yes.
economist.
Yes,
And I made the point to them that you're an entrepreneur, and to be an entrepreneur, you've got to be a little bit mad. Because when you get out of bed in the morning and you think of all the things that can go wrong today, over which you have absolutely no control, then most people shy away from that. They're not prepared to run that kind of risk. They would prefer to have a salary check at the end of every month, to know that they can meet their financial obligations.
yes,
But to be an entrepreneur, you've got to think differently. And that's where the risks that are already out there can be amplified 100 times if your partner is a crook
yes,
or doesn't hold the same values.
exactly.
But that's part of the risk.
That's part of the risk.
Yeah.
Christo, you're famous for, if I may, three business
Yeah.
relations in your life.
Yeah.
Whitey Person, ShopRite, Pieter Erasmus, and then Marcus Jooste.
Yeah.
Do you mind just some
Not at
lessons
all.
that you've learned? You know,
Yeah.
what worked with the various partnerships and what didn't work? What did you perhaps miss?
Well, I suppose, first of all, obviously, you know, as you develop in business and you can select partners with an apparent, and I've stressed the word apparent, proven record of success.
Yes.
Because, I mean, the one big failure, obviously there were others, but Steinhoff was a spectacular failure of choice. Because I looked at Jooste's business, Steinhoff, for many years, and on the face of it, like thousands of other people, I believed that he was building a fantastic business.
Yeah.
And there were a few skeptics about what he was doing, but by and large, I mean, he was supported by the markets, by the banks, by the regulators, because on the face of it, he built a fantastic business.
Yes.
I found myself in a position in South Africa with our competition laws that I couldn't really, in my main businesses, grow any more in South Africa. We had to look to grow in other territories. Steinhoff seemed to present the right platform, and I made a bad choice in thinking Jooste was the right guy to drive that, because he had been doing it for 10 years.
Yes.
And but that's part of the risks. You
Yes.
always run that risk. And the problem with people is that I've also seen in my life, people start off as good people, and then somehow along the way they lose direction. They start developing false values, and that's what happened in the case of Jooste. Somebody asked me at that little conference last week,
Yes.
they said, what do you think Jooste's main failing was? And the main failing was a lack of patience. He was too much in a hurry for his own good. And that, coupled with a strong dose of arrogance, having not having the humility to admit a mistake. So I made a mistake, this business didn't work out, I lost money, but most people building their careers go through that cycle. But you've got to be humble enough to say, well, I can't make everything in the world work.
Yes.
I do my best, but there are things beyond my control, and I make bad judgments from time to time.
Yes.
But that requires to be humble.
Yes. But you've also made very good judgments. Maybe, if you don't mind expanding a bit on Whitey and Peter Erasmus.
Look, Whitey and I had been very close friends from our Wilgenhof days, more than 60 years. So with him, I had no misgivings that, we had the same view of life, the same set of values, the same sense of humor. We enjoyed the same things. And so he was, my partnership with him was a fantastic one for both of us. Peter Erasmus, much younger than I was, but I've been a man of very high quality as a business person, clever, ambitious, hardworking, and no element of arrogance. Always low key. He never wanted to have the glamour of, all the publicity that goes with achieving financial success. Yeah, so that was also an extremely profitable for both partnership.
Chris, if I listen to the way you've answered this, I think the one thing that came through strongly is values and viewing things similar. I know viewing things different in terms of creativity is very beneficial for businesses, but the value component comes through over and over again.
All important, yeah.
And so I think you've kind of answered this question, but there's two ways how you can get into a partnership. You go into a partnership because you have the same values, you have the same ideals, or you can work very hard on getting a contract in place that kind of forces both parties to get to the end game. But does a contract mean anything if you've lost it along the way?
There's got to be a far deeper understanding. Contract, lawyers break contract if they're instructed to do so by their clients. So contract has value, but if you have to rely on contracts, then you're also in dangerous territory. Now, I think you made the point about having a clear set of values. I told this little meeting last week that Renier van Rooyen, who founded Pep Stores, he founded it literally, it was one shop the size of this office in Uppington, and from that one little shop, businesses grew in South Africa and abroad that today have a combined market value of nearly R500 billion. And that is in one lifetime.
Insane.
That's from 1965. So what is it now, 60 years that was built. And built by ordinary people. But those people had a very clearly defined philosophy by which the business lived, and they had to always test themselves as to whether they live by that philosophy. And Renier van Rooyen, encapsulated the philosophy in 5 words. Faith, you have to believe in something greater than yourself. You have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in your colleagues. That's the first pillar. The second pillar is enthusiasm. Whatever you do, you must do enthusiastically. Don't drag through it. Be enthusiastic. The third one is positive thinking. Don't always think about what can go wrong and what you are upset about, because it's not right. Think positively, what can I do to make it right? And then the fourth one is obvious, hard work.
Yes.
If you're not prepared to work very hard, well, go and find an easy job and make peace with the fact that, you know, you will not become a wealthy man.
Or be very happy necessarily.
Yeah. So, and then the fifth one is compassion. You must like people. I don't know how people ever go into business without liking people. You know, thinking that what I'm doing, I may be doing in the first instance to make a living for myself or to make money. But on the other hand, I've got to, you know, improve people's lives by what I'm doing. And both those businesses, PEP and ShopRite, improve the lives of millions of people in South Africa and in Namibia.
Christo, you beat me to a comment I wanted to make now, from what I'm hearing,
Yeah.
is that if you have those things in place, those pillars, the values, the enthusiasm, the passion for what you do,
Yeah.
and you get the right people together and the right minds together,
Yeah.
the end result can really have a lasting impact. And I think what you've just shared is an extraordinary example.
Yeah.
But every one of us, in our own right, if we get those things right, can really add value to the lives of others.
Yeah, you know, once again, if you look at those two businesses only, ShopRite and Pepkor today, between them directly, they employ over 200,000 people.
Yeah.
Now, indirectly, that probably means they give work opportunities to 1 million people. They help build small businesses. ShopRite, for instance, has more than 1,000 suppliers, small suppliers that sell per person less than R1 million a year of goods to ShopRite. But I mean, it's 1,000 people out there that make a living, that's growing a business. And some of those businesses will grow very large.
Yes.
So that's got to be part of your objective. You know, I've been making a successful business, creating a career for people, but improving society as a whole has to be an objective.
Yes.
And if you have a partner who's only concerned with his own well-being, like regrettably somebody like yours there was, that makes life very complicated.
Christo, so getting back to Raal Wealth Management, my business,
Yeah.
and now thinking about partnerships and having formed 2 strategic partnerships, one with North Star Asset Management, SA and Global, and then Service Fund Managers in the Namibian space. So if we had to attach names now representing, there's obviously more people behind it, but let's say Adrian Clayton, Renee Olivier, and Roland Brown forming a partnership together based on good values and wanting to have a lasting impact, let's say, for financial or investment advisors in the Namibian market. What are the questions you think that our clients should ask us?
Well, I mean, I imagine they should first ask you whether you know what you're doing.
Yes, competence.
Particularly if you try to help them to manage their assets or their wealth. But I mean, if I were a Namibian and I saw a young business like this coming together, I would ask, you know, what are your long-term views on the country in which you operate? And how do you propose making a contribution to that country? Primarily, of course, as a client, I would want to know, how do you think you can how you can best manage my little wealth?
Yes.
And you know, you must develop the answers to that. But more than that, you must prove that you can do it.
Yes.
Because ultimately, that's all that matters.
Exactly. I think what's nice about the partners, if I may say, is everyone's got a track record.
Yeah.
And now
That's a good start.
A good value system and synergies coming together. I think last question perhaps then. if you obviously are very competent and
Sure,
are
well, that-
astute in your own
Yeah.
world and have a track record, we also have people that give you advice. And when you talk to financial advisors, what are the traits that you look for, that you want to see?
You know, I'm fortunate enough that we have this family office
Yes.
where I have very good colleagues, accountants, investment bankers, lawyers, of different age groups. And so I talk to a lot of people in the financial world, I mean, by the very nature of what we do. But primarily I look for advice, at my own circle.
Yeah.
I expect my colleagues to be on top of, what's happening in the world and, looking at the political developments everywhere, but primarily at how economies go, and to take joint decisions, hopefully more often right than wrong.
Yes.
Because that's the best you can do. You can't get them all right, but if you make 6 out of the 10 decisions right, and the other 4 not so right, then you're okay.
I remember my dad telling me that about you, that you told him that many years ago. If you get 6 out of 10 right, then you're happy.
Then you're on the winning side.
Christy, thank you so much.
Yeah,
It was
pleasure.
a real honor.
Yeah.
Namibians really respect you,
Yeah, I'm happy to hear that.
and hopefully in the near future
Yeah.
we might have you in person visit us.
Yeah, I love Namibia. My wife grew up there,
That's right.
and so we love the country, and I personally am very optimistic for the future for Namibia. They've got a lot of things right that we haven't got right in this country yet. There are wonderful new opportunities opening up in the mining sector, oil and gas, the green hydrogen, and it's a beautiful country, and with nice people, with solid values. So if I were a young man today, I would certainly put Namibia very high on the list of trying to do something.
That's
with
very
my
good
life.
to know. Thank you, Christy.
So, best of luck.